Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge. It's Manchester United versus Brighton preview. Football is properly back. None of this England international shit. Let's get on with it. Manchester United against Brighton and lots to talk about. Could Jadon Sancho play any part in this game? I think we've had the drama of the Sancho-Ten Hag fallout. But what happens on Saturday? We've got the press conference tomorrow, of course, but will he be involved? Could he start? Will he be on the bench? What's the best course of action? Should there be discipline that he's not involved? We've got Bayern on Wednesday. We know we haven't got Anthony. What happens there? Will Harry Maguire start? We've got another update on him. Not from his mum, not from his dad. It's from Sky this time. We'll also be talking about Hojlund and Amrabat and massively against Brighton. 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon, the Premier League returns. Man United have lost 2-1-2 and we're probably playing one of the best teams in the Premier League, certainly for form. What are your thoughts going into this? Because, you know, it's a long time since we played that Arsenal game and we lost, and it feels a very long time ago. I think this international break in many ways has felt like a bloody off-season. There's been so much going off, and Hojlund hat-trick says the Whelan 4. I hope so. I really hope so, because I think that for all the negatives, and the Maguire story is a negative, and the Sancho story is a negative, and the Anthony story is a negative, 3 big stories since we played Arsenal. The positives are that Rasmus Hojlund, I know it was only a cameo, but gave us a lot of positivity. And interesting, if you're interested in this, and I'm not massively interested in it because Rashford's not there, but the two of the top 5 quickest speeds measured in the Premier League this season have come from 2 Man United players, Hojlund and Garnacho. I would say Rashford's quicker than both, but it just shows you that Garnacho and Hojlund are quick. And look, we've got to get off. We've got to get up and running against Brighton, not just in the sense of 3 points, but we've got to get our season up and running as well. Josh, welcome to the Members Club. So I'm going to fly straight into it. This is the team I've got. Lots to talk about, but let's start off with the team. Just a bit of a background in relation to Brighton as well. I wrote down a few things. They've scored 12 in their first 4 Premier League games, so they're averaging 3 goals scored a game. They've conceded, I think they've conceded 6 in 4, so they're averaging conceding 1.5. So if you wanted a medium score of what Brighton are doing at the moment, they're winning 3-1 in every game. Whereas Man United, we've conceded 8 in 4, so we're averaging 2 goals conceded per game, and I think we've scored, 7 or something like that. So there will be goals. There will be goals in this game. As I say, Brighton are averaging 3 goals scored a game, and we're averaging 2 goals conceded a game. So there's going to be goals in this game, which is weird in a way, because normally if I was predicting the Brighton game, I would say maybe 1-0, 2-0 traditionally to United. But it feels like there will be a lot of goals in this, and it will be open. And of course, with the international break, there will be a bit of, what do you call it? A bit of fatigue maybe, but players won't be used to playing with each other after a 2-week break. So yeah, it's going to be a game full of goals. The team I've gone with is based a little bit on injury, I would say. Onana in goal, obviously. Lindelof will play because he's fit. Wan-Bissaka's had 2 weeks off. He will play. I've got Martinez in there, but I do just want to say I'm completely open to the fact that if he's injured, then it won't be Martinez and it will be Maguire. So I'm comfortable with that. I don't care what anybody says. This is not a witch hunt. This is not abuse. This is not agenda. I got sent some clip this morning from Talk Sport with Simon Jordan on it, and some caller calling in saying Goldbridge and the United Stand are bullies, and I'm like, tell me you don't watch the United Stand by telling me you don't watch the United Stand. I mean, it's just complete and utter nonsense. And, there's no way in a million years Simon Jordan sat watching the United Stand either. So, look, educate yourselves or shut up. You're talking absolute nonsense. And I was desperately trying to get on that show to defend the platform and also myself. Couldn't get on. People could just spout shit. So you go from one person who's supposedly being abused, etc., to giving it to somebody else. I mean, that's just the nature of this world. This is why you get these incidents like what happened with Caroline Flack and other people, because people go from targeting one person to targeting another without actually thinking what's actually going on. I mean, I quote tweeted somebody on Twitter earlier, the day Goldbridge gets run over, the sooner the better. They were defending Maguire. I mean, can you understand the idiocy of that? I don't like the abuse Maguire's getting. The day Goldbridge gets run over, the better. I mean, you couldn't write it. And yet I've never said anything like that about Maguire. And that's not what we're talking about. He ain't good enough to play for Man United, in my opinion. It's about football. I've heard people saying, Man United fans never used to get onto the players like they do now. It's the new world. Shut up. I used to go quite regularly in the early noughties and hear United fans jeering Ryan Giggs. And if you weren't there, you're not a United fan then, because I was there and many others were there. It's gone on for years. It's called football. That's football. That's what it's all about. So, but what I will say is, if Martinez isn't fit, I want Maguire to play over Johnny Evans. We're down to the bare bones. Our best three centre-backs are Our best three centre-backs are Martinez and Lindelof and Varane and Luke Shaw. None of those players are available apart from Lindelof, so I'd play Maguire ahead of Evans if Martinez isn't fit. But I think Martinez will be fit, because as I said this morning, why send a player on international duty if he's injured? He should have been back here. Delo, I would play at left back. Josh says, Eric Ten Hag's going to mess around and play Bruno on the wing with Eriksen Cam. He's going to lose his job if he keeps playing players out of position. We're going to talk about that, Joel. I want to talk about that there. I'd play Delo at left back. Some people seem to think we should go with Reguilon. I don't rate Reguilon. He's got everything to prove. I mean, I'll give him a chance, but I don't rate Reguilon. I don't think Ten Hag rates Reguilon. It wasn't the left back that he wanted. So I don't rate Reguilon. But I thought Delo, I mean, even Brian's saying Reguilon for Delo. Delo played well against Arsenal. So, I mean, Brian, we're going to disagree. Why are you putting Reguilon in? Crap for Spurs. Never kicked a ball for Man United. Drop Delo, who played well against Arsenal against Saka. I don't get that. I mean, it's an opinion, but he had a very good game against Arsenal and he's played for Man United for years. But you want to put Reguilon in because he's a shiny new toy. What if he's a shiny new shit? Casemiro, Amrabat and Bruno, midfield three. Amrabat, of course, has to play in this game. We need that energy. We need that spark. We need a positive environment at Old Trafford. And Amrabat and Hojlund will bring that as debutants, home debutants. Amrabat's got to play. Casemiro has to play, massively underrated. And I go back to what was said there. Bruno's got to play centrally. I'm a massive fan of Ten Hag, but you can't put... We did it with Rashford. Rashford's brilliant off the left wing. We put him up front. He struggles. He gets criticised. Bruno is our best number 10. He gets put on the right wing. He struggles. He gets criticised. I'm fed up of our players, our best players, being put out of position to help the team out. I would rather see Pellistri or Sancho play off the right so Bruno can play on in the centre. I don't want to see our better players shifted out of position. I don't understand that logic. I know other managers do it. I don't understand it. Why weaken your strongest positions because you know those players will do a job for you? It doesn't make any sense. If you know that Bruno's going to play an 8 out of 10 at number 10, but if you put him on the wing, he'll be a 6, and then Eriksen's a 6, far better to have an 8 out of 10 playing at 10. So I would play Bruno at 10. Obviously, Rashford off the left. Hojlund has to start. There was a scare this morning, late in the morning show, that Martial had been at training for 5 minutes and gone home. We were all panicking, quite rightly, because Martial's injury record isn't great. But the truth is, he actually turned up early, which I put a smile on my face. So Martial turned up at 5 to 9 for training, thinking it was going to start at 9 o'clock. It didn't. It had been put back. So contrary to the problems we've had with Jadon Sancho, who's not been turning up on time, we've now got players turning up early. Apparently, Scott McTominay was camping outside. He's so eager to impress. That's a joke. James Farr, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much. And can't wait to see Hojlund start. Really hope Amrabat plays. Doubt Eric will start him, but I wish he does, says Iraqi. And yeah, look, the right wing is really interesting. Jadon Sancho was back in training today. I don't know where Jadon Sancho's been. There was a lot made on, in the news that Jadon Sancho was back training today, but he's not. I don't know. Look, sometimes we dig a little bit too deep into Manchester United, don't we? And I know Pellistri's away and Bruno's been away, but where's Sancho been? I thought where's Wan-Bissaka been? Where's I'm trying to think of any other player that's. Where's Amrabat been? Like, surely they're training. Surely they were training last week. I don't know what we do with players that aren't on international duty. But anyway, I would play Pellistri. His attitude from the summer through now has been brilliant. He's international football with Uruguay, part of that setup. I think this is Pellistri's time to shine, and it's fortuitous, but it's only the same as Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire is very lucky if he plays on Saturday because Martinez, Varane and Luke Shaw are injured. And you've got to take those opportunities. And likewise with Pellistri, Anthony is suspended at the moment. I think he'll be back soon, but he is suspended at the moment. Sancho has got to be disciplined. So it's got to be Pellistri. But I agree with Shawnee Devil. I'm absolutely convinced Pellistri doesn't start. I agree. I think we might see Eriksen at number 10 and Bruno on the right. It can work. It could work. I'm not against it. If Mason Mount was fit, I'd probably play him. But if Pellistri can't get a chance in a game when Sancho and Anthony aren't available, really, then when will he ever get a chance? Mohammed says Mark Ten Hag will play Rashford on the left wing and Garnacho on the right. Ten Hag finish versus Arsenal with that wing. Look, I don't mind that either. There are a lot of options. You could put Garnacho on the right. You could put Bruno on the right. If Mount was fit, you could put him on the right. You could put Pellistri on the right. You could swallow the argument and put Sancho on the right. But I just would that's how I would go, and I'll use that as a predicted 11 because I think that who knows what he will do. I don't want to see Bruno on the right like downfall, but look, bringing it back to the game, we can all talk about what you'd do, what you wouldn't do, but what you have to do is respect the opposition. What Brighton and De Zerbi have done in the time that he's been there, and before that with Potter. I know it's not fashionable to appreciate Potter, but Brighton have been like this for a long time. Fantastic side, and it's going to be a really difficult game. I actually would rather play Brighton at home now than any other week. And the reason I say this is I've learned it over the years. You absolutely want to be at home after an international break. If you look at certainly our recent history, we really struggle. We really struggle when we're away after the international break. And I'm hoping that that's the same for other teams. You lose your fluidity. You've all been apart. Home advantage can be really good after an international break. So I'm hoping that that goes in our favour because Brighton are going to be a really, really difficult prospect. Before we talk about Brighton, though, and what I think is going to happen in this game, if we can put that team out on my left and it can play well together, then there are weaknesses, obviously. Even if Maguire doesn't play and Martinez plays, I want to just say this. Martinez and Lindelof, you put that up at Anfield or you put that at the Etihad, it ain't strong. I don't think it's bad, but it ain't strong. Martinez and Lindelof doesn't compare to, Arsenal's centre-backs or Man City's centre-backs or Liverpool's centre-backs. So I think we need to be realistic here. I really do like Lindelof, but it ain't Martinez and Varane, and we will miss Varane. And this is why we needed to get Kim Min-jae, because Varane will get injured and you need a really good replacement. So I really like Lindelof, but I'm just warning people, as good as Lindelof is, Lindelof and Martinez or Lindelof and Maguire, it is a weakness. I'm not saying it's going to cost us the game, but it's not as strong as it could be. The midfield will be brand new. How Ten Hag approaches this game for me is going to be really interesting. Like, how is he going to approach it? Are we going to do this thing? What I will say is, if we try and do the thing we did against Arsenal and against Wolves, where we leave the ball with the centre-backs and the full-backs bomb forward and everyone plays on the back line of Brighton, we will get smacked to shit. Like, we will absolutely get battered. Brighton will kill us. They'll absolutely kill us. We are going to have to keep a shape in that midfield. We can't abandon it like we did against Wolves and Arsenal. Nev, welcome to the Members Club. And the reason I say that is that if you don't, look, I don't think this is controversial. Brighton are probably everybody's second favourite team in the Premier League. They're certainly mine. They're so inoffensive in relation to how they conduct themselves. They're a nice club. The way they play the game, the way that they sell players for so much and replace them straight away with another brilliant talent. I think a lot of people have a lot of positive things to say about Brighton. But that doesn't mean I want to lose to them, and that doesn't mean that I'll accept losing to them. We have to win this game. And if we're going to win this game, then we've got to pack that midfield out. We've got to stick to position. You've got to respect who you're playing, because Brighton are brilliant at it. They have amazing energy. They have amazing confidence on the ball, and they will not abandon their principles. Now, we can beat Brighton. We have beaten Brighton. Everton have beaten Brighton. West Ham have beaten Brighton. You can beat them. And also, away from home, in their last 5 Premier League games, they've won 2 and lost 3. So it will be open. I think there will be a winner in this game, and it has to be us. But they've got some really good players. I thought Dunk was brilliant for England the other night, and I think he's been brilliant for Brighton for a very long time. Into the midfield, they've got, Mitoma, are aware of him. Estebanan, however you pronounce it, very good going forward. As I said, Mitoma, Ferguson, loads of players. They've got loads of good players. I mean, Gross, isn't it, in the midfield, and Billy Gilmore's done well in there. They're just a very, very good footballing side. I like the goalkeeper as well. I know he's only new there, but that was who Ten Hag was looking at for the backup goalkeeper, and he's obviously made the right choice going to Brighton because he's playing football. So, look, I think it's going to be a really difficult game, and I think the things that have to go in our favour is that we need to bounce back and get our season up and running. We can't afford to be messing around anymore. Dress rehearsals, whatever, it's over. We've got to perform. It's at Old Trafford. It's straight after an international break, and we can't start slow. Like we have to start fast in that game, because the one thing about Brighton is whether they're at the Etihad or they're playing at Luton, they will express themselves and they will grow in confidence with the ball. So we've got to start fast. You certainly, the case in point for me is if we give Brighton a 2-0 lead at Old Trafford, we'll never see them again. You can do it against Nottingham Forest. You can do it against Sheffield United. You can do it against some teams, but you can't do it against Brighton. So we can't start slow. Actually, it was a great point from I think Angry Ginge said it on the podcast this week. We've played better in the 2 games we've lost, and we have. We've played better against Spurs and we played better against Arsenal. Certainly at Spurs in the first half. We were rubbish against Wolves. And we weren't that great against Forest, but we got the wins. We can't do that against Brighton, because they will be. The chances are they're going to play well against us. And as I said, there will be goals, but I think it'll be a very difficult game to watch if we're not on it. And we've got to start fast, as I say. Somebody just said in the chat, what about Mason Mount? I don't know what the situation is with Mason Mount at the moment. Apparently he is back in training. I suppose we're waiting to see if we get any photos in today. But I've not seen any so far. Look, if Mason Mount's fit, then we need to involve him in the game. Exactly. But on the other hand, we have got. I mean, look, what I would say is in relation to Martial, if he had been injured today, would you be surprised? And if he was injured, then look, you look at that team there. One injury to Casemiro, Rashford, or Bruno, and we're in trouble. We can see at centre-back we're in trouble if Martinez isn't fit. Like, we're down to the bare bones. So, at left-back, we're down to the bare bones. We haven't got Malacia and Shaw. So, the squad, to me, is still, vulnerable. But the big positive is Hojlund. And I think that because of the Anthony, Sancho, and Maguire stories, we've forgotten about the Hojlund story, that he's back, that he's fit, that we've got Amrabat as well. So those 2 players coming in, absolutely perfect. But these next 2 games are huge. They're absolutely huge. Brighton, we need 3 points. Bayern Munich, I think we can lose to Bayern Munich and still get through the group. But you don't want to go there and get your arse handed on a plate. We don't want to go there and get smashed. Why is Rashford starting over Garnacho? Because Eric Ten Hag's the manager and Rashford will always start. I mean, he is, whether people like it or not, he is the guy. He is the player. Travis says Reguilon's here. When you say that, Travis, I'm almost like, when you're in a bar fight and Batman appears. I feel like you're saying it like that. Now, if I'm in a bar fight and I'm getting beat up and Batman appears at the door, I feel safe. But if I'm in a bar fight and Reguilon appears at the door, I'm not feeling safe. I'm feeling like Scrappy Doo's turned up. Let me at him. I don't. What's this loving for Reguilon? I mean, if I'd have said Reguilon to you before we bought him, you'd all have been crying. But now suddenly he's one of the best left backs in the world. He's not one of the best left backs in the world. Maybe Ten Hag can turn him into that, but he ain't. It's not like wah wah wah. Reguilon's here, everybody. Run and shit yourselves. No, I don't get what this Reguilon obsession is. Maybe he'll work out, but I start with Delo. Simple. People are talking about him like he's some sort of bloody, he was 3rd choice left back for Spurs. Mark, would you be surprised if Casemiro or Delo centre back? I'd be very surprised, Sihan. The thing I'm looking at, I mean, I know we've got Ten Hag's press conference before, and obviously he's going to get asked a ridiculous amount of questions about Harry Maguire, which is, what's going to frustrate me about Ten Hag's press conference tomorrow. And if anybody can get this clip to any Man United journalist, please, if you want some credibility, United fans don't want to hear about Harry Maguire. They want to hear about Sancho. They want to hear about Anthony. They don't want to hear about Harry Maguire. So don't go and ask 20 questions about Harry Maguire. And should Man United fans turn up at Old Trafford with Harry Maguire armbands on or stuff like that? We don't want to hear about it. And the interesting thing is the context to that, and there is context. Can I just say this? This is coming in from Sky. Harry Maguire is unaffected by everything around him and is even a little taken aback by all the attention he's receiving. He doesn't read newspapers or social media. And before anyone starts cracking jokes, that's because he can't read. That's not very nice. But what that is coming in from Sky, and what they're saying is that he's unaffected and he's taken aback by all the attention, and he's not taken any notice of it. And I applaud that. Some people will say, well, your mum's made a big deal of it this morning. But no, Gareth Southgate caused this. As I said, he scored an own goal. It was a crap friendly in international football that no one cares about. No one would have mentioned it. It got booed by Scottish fans. No one would have mentioned it. Gareth Southgate's turned it into a major story. So I would imagine that's exactly how Harry Maguire feels. He just wants to get on with it. So I would say in the press conference tomorrow, please don't ask questions about Harry Maguire. Ask them about Jadon Sancho and Anthony. Because what I want to know is, and I think the big story on Saturday is Sancho on the bench? Is Sancho in the team? I want to ask this as a poll. Should Sancho be in the squad on Saturday? Simple as that. Yes or no? Should Sancho be in the squad on Saturday? Now, I'm obviously going to have an opinion on this, but I also want to quantify my opinion by saying if Ten Hag is pissed off with Sancho and wants to punish him for what he did, then he shouldn't be in the squad. And I respect that. If Sancho and Ten Hag have resolved their differences, then he should be on the bench. Because we're better off with Sancho on the bench than not. Like, you can say what you think about him, but he is a player and he has got a talent. It's like what I said about Harry Maguire. Like, you know, am I pissed off he didn't go to West Ham? Yes. Is he currently a United player? Yes. Would I rather him play ahead of Johnny Evans if Martinez is out? Yes. It's the same with Sancho. Has he acted silly? Yes. Is it resolved with Ten Hag? Well, if it's yes, then put him in the matchday squad because he's a Man United player till January or next summer. So I would like to see him in the squad. I wouldn't like to see him start. I think that's a step too far. I think the manager has to preserve control, but I would put him on the bench. But if he's not on the bench, then I sort of get it as well because Ten Hag is the manager, isn't he? And he's got to do what he thinks. And interestingly, 62% of you said no, he shouldn't be in the squad on Saturday. So there we go. Somebody said, what do you think the reaction will be to Sancho and Maguire at Old Trafford on Saturday? I know exactly what the reaction will be. They won't be booed. They won't be booed because I personally don't believe in people being booed, but no one's going to listen to me. No one's going to boo people if I tell them to, and no one's going to not boo people if I tell them to. But I think, like most Man United fans, my opinion is probably the same as the majority. We shouldn't be booing our players. I didn't like it when Fellaini got booed, and I couldn't stand Fellaini in a United shirt. I didn't like it when Pogba was booed because I felt it was unfair that he got booed. I didn't like it when Martial got booed. I don't agree with it. And I don't agree with Maguire being booed, and I wouldn't agree with Jadon Sancho being booed. And I was glad that Ronaldo never got booed, although I think a few people did do it after he'd walked out. You know, there was talk of Ronaldo being booed a year ago. I mean, people forget the treatment of Ronaldo a year ago. They will not be booed. United fans will get behind the players because we need 3 points. No one's going to individualise issues. They're going to trust the manager. Of course, Sancho acted silly. Of course, Sancho is dropping the ball on one of the biggest opportunities he's probably going to get in his life to play for Man United. But he needs to resolve that and work hard. United fans will get behind the team and get behind the players, as we should, because we need to win. Look, you're seriously telling me it's 0-0 in the last minute. We chuck a free kick into the box. It deflects up off the goalkeeper and Harry Maguire knees it in with his knee. You're going to tell me you're not going to celebrate it and say, get in, Harry? You're an idiot. We need to win. And whoever's on the pitch needs to contribute to that. I don't care if Scott McTominay comes on and scores a hat-trick. Man United need to win. Will it change my opinion on whether Maguire, McTominay, Sancho should move? I don't even know what I think about Sancho at the moment, but I'd sell McTominay and Maguire, of course. Hi, Mark. I've been away on holidays all week and missed a lot of sounds like an awful week. How long is Martinez out for, says Keenan? Well, we don't know that Martinez is out. We don't know that Martinez is out. As I said, as much as I've put Maguire there, it's sort of part of the story because I was saying that if he's, really, hopefully that's the team because it's a better team and it's got a left-footed centre-back. But remember, we have got Bayern Munich on Tuesday. if Martinez has got a knock, can he play 2 games? Sorry, on Wednesday. So I think that I think Martinez will play on Saturday, because my question will be, why did Man United send him on international duty if he's got a knock? Glenny Boy says, I wonder if Southgate is still suffering repressed trauma after missing a penalty at Euro 96, so he's been overprotective of Maguire, says Glenny Boy. Hi Mark, I've done that one as well, and love from Sam Sargent there as well. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think Martinez will hopefully start, definitely. Score prediction. I think United are going to win. I think United are going to win. I think we might get a classic. I don't normally go for this, but I think we might get a classic. I'm going to go 3-2 Manchester United. And in a way, I'm convinced there's going to be goals. I think we've got to go for goals. I think we've got to go open. I think we've got to go toe-to-toe. And some people will be surprised by that because they'll say Brighton will beat us. But you can't sit back. That defence is not strong. Even if Maguire doesn't play, it's still not strong. Dalot is not a left back. Lindelof is not Varane. So our defence is not strong enough to sit back. We've got to go on the front foot. We're at Old Trafford. You've got Rashford. You've got Hojlund. We've got to try and score goals. So I don't see a 0-0. I don't see a 1-0. I think we've got to go there and win. And Aidan says you've got the wrong number on the striker. We have. I need to change that. That's my fault, because I have got the right one. In relation to Jadon Sancho, should Sancho be in the squad on Saturday? 39% of you are saying yes, and 61% of you are disciplinarians saying no. We will see what Ten Hag has got to say on it. Right, we're back at 8 o'clock. Also on That's Football, I've got win, lose or draw coming up with Ben Foster predicting the weekend results. I bet Eric Ten Hag hates all this. He just wants to coach. And that's a very important thing to leave it on Total Football. Just imagine how hard this job is. And think of those fans that are trying to say Ten Hag's not the man for Man United. I don't care whether you're Ten Hag or Neil Warnock or Ollie managing United at the moment. It's not really about how good you are as a manager at the moment. Nobody can operate in this circumstance. An international break, a player gets suspended, a player calls you out on social media, and a player comes back from international duty, with a PR whirlwind around him. It's not conducive. It's not conducive. And you've got an injury crisis, and you've lost 2 of your first 4 games. His job it's a circus. It's a circus, just keeping. It's a ridiculously hard job, and I hope that people do realise that, because if we were to lose against Brighton and Bayern, I think there'd be this pile onto Ten Hag. But you've got to remember the circumstances. If I go into a boxing ring and I'm fighting Tyson Fury, I'm going to get beat up. But if I'm going into that ring and I'm Tyson Fury and I'm fighting somebody else who's the same as me, but I've got 2 broken wrists, it's a hard fight. And I think at the moment, Ten Hag has got a lot of issues. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll speak to you in a bit. Smash a like on the video and take care.